Titan is Dreamworks' best twist villain ever, and I mean ever. So I just finished rewatching Megamind for the 10th time. Seriously, someone please tell me they also make a tradition of watching movies they love at least once per year? However, this villain is so sinister, so backwards, so cunning, that if you told me you saw this twist coming a mile away, I'd have two rebuttals for you.
There is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Queen of England.
I have no idea how I didn't pick up on the hints that this young man would be the biggest murderer in Metro City. To understand why this is Dreamworks' best villain, we have to travel back in time, way before this dude had any power. Early on, we see him working and making an honest living with his co-worker Roxanne.
Come on, it's time to get in the Metro Man Day spirit.
Well, if I were Metro Man, Megamind wouldn't be kidnapping you all the time. That's the first thing.
He clearly has a crush on her and she knows this, but she doesn't give him the time of day because she's not interested in his looks or personality. Probably a mixture of both. My source of reference for this is the little details I picked up about Roxanne. See, she actually has a fixation on the most popular guy in town, the superhero Metro Man. Muscles, good looks, popularity, a ton of women already love him, so Roxanne would give him the time of the day instead of Hal. After wrapping up a session, we see Hal invite Roxanne out to a party at his house.
See you tomorrow, Hal.
Wait, Roxy, I'm having a party at my house. It's gonna be like off the hook or whatever.
What makes Titan such a good villain is before all the ruckus, he was just your average Joe. Unfortunately, Roxanne declines because she, quote, doesn't want to be around a bunch of people. To which Hal does a 180 and claims it'll just be the two of them. She still declines. Now here's where we see the first glimpse of rage in Hal.
What's wrong with me?
Upon my first viewing of this movie, I thought that Hal would simply be the comic relief character, but after my 10th time watching this, I realized the patterns and hints carefully laid out throughout the film. He even goes as far as to smash the van to let out his anger, a blatant disrespect of the things around him. Don't get me wrong, he's still that innocent goofball who's just down on his luck. However, these little things are very telling. Anyways, we see that Megamind is looking to replace Metro Man and sees Hal as a lovable, clumsy candidate. However, Minion states that Hal hasn't accomplished anything in his life, so Megamind, being naive, decides to give him superpowers. I can't stress enough that power in the wrong hands can go really wrong. As we transition to Hal's apartment, he thinks that he's being robbed by Megamind and doesn't hesitate to sell out an innocent lady across the hall who lives near him, claiming that she has better stuff.
Is this a robbery? Because the lady across the hall has way better stuff than me.
See, if you thought Hal going evil was just some afterthought the writers decided to shoehorn in, you're sorely mistaken, my friend. Pivoting back to the story, we see that Megamind transforms Hal's appearance, increasing his height, his look, his strength. Now, the crazy thing about this movie is there was a lot of moving pieces throughout the film. On one hand, you had Megamind, who had shapeshifted into another person, falling in love with Roxanne, and vice versa. Now, it's important to note that this movie took place way before dating apps. I mean, they're using flip phones for crying out loud. So the dating pool would be smaller, I'd imagine, which actually benefited Roxanne because she actually got to know Megamind on a one-on-one level instead of swiping on pixels on a screen. I don't think you need me to tell you how messed up dating is in our generation. But aside from that, this was actually authentic. Anyways, we transition to Roxanne trying to figure out a code, and she stumbles upon a love letter from Hal, aka Titan. She doesn't recognize him at first, which I thought was a little bit silly, but I thought about it, and I realized if I knew someone who was super nerdy, geeky, short, and one day they got a complete makeover without my knowledge and superpowers, I don't think I'd recognize them either. So Titan presents Roxanne with a bunch of flowers, a romantic gesture, but an expensive one. He asked her for a flight, but didn't wait for her response and immediately picks her up.
This must be very thrilling for you.
What do you think you're doing?
Throughout this scene, he drops her constantly, endangering her life, but he doesn't realize what he's doing. See, it might look like Titan is demented, but he's just trying to run his own version of game. In theory, he should get the girl. After all, he's confident, has muscles now, and is taller with superpowers. All the things that Metro Man possesses. Remember, Roxanne was in awe of Metro Man before he died. But why is it that Roxanne is not attracted to Hal?
We're like an old married couple.
Look, there is no us, okay? There will never be an us.
But I have powers.
After being rejected, he storms off, leaving her there to die. But she makes it out in time for that date with Megamind. Yes, sir! Keep playing your game, player. But remember, he's actually shapeshifted into a friend of Roxanne. Now here's a key moment, and a transition of Hal's playfulness to evil. He sees a skinny dork with glasses and a goofy haircut, scoring it with Roxanne. How could this be? This is such a mind f***. Because to Hal, he was once that guy, yet he couldn't pull anyone for himself. And now, even after being granted godly powers, he's still rejected. My goodness. Moving on to a new day, Megamind is ready to battle the hero that he's created. But Titan is nowhere to be seen. He rage quit, reverting back to habits that made him happy in the past. But we see he's gone even further, stealing money and committing crimes. Again, what makes this twist so amazing is you have to remember this was just some ordinary dude. And now he's destroying the city, causing multiple casualties, and when confronted by Roxanne, he straight up tells her that she never took the time to know him.
You and I, we worked together for a long time. I know you.
You don't know me. You never took the time to know me.
Roxanne tries to use talk no jutsu here, but it doesn't work. Roxanne says she doesn't want to talk to Titan, she wants to talk to the real Hal deep down inside. However, this is Hal. It's always been Hal. He's always been like this. That power that was given to him unlocked this new level of arrogance. So you may have heard the phrase that people are their true selves when they have nothing, but I believe that people are their true selves when they have everything and a bunch of power. This is the ultimate test to see whether or not you have the fortitude and humility to not treat people like shit. Anyways, it's revealed that Titan got scammed and he goes even crazier, causing him to capture Roxanne and putting her back in the exact same place he knew made her uncomfortable to torment her. My goodness, this dude is sadistic. Titan ends up losing in the end, but this twist was so iconic that it made me realize that this script set this thing up way in advance. This ain't some Disney whack-a-mole, I'm bad now, This was carefully planned out. See, Titan is not some cookie-cutter villain singing moo-ha-ha-ha-ha. He was a regular guy, the average Joe. Titan is so realistic, man. There have been YouTubers who started off super humble. However, once you throw some fame and money into their hands, they then use that power to flex on homeless people. Their personalities shift completely, they become unrecognizable. So yes, this story isn't that far from reality. Some of you might think this is just some animated movie, yet we're seeing this in our everyday lives. Power in the wrong hands can be catastrophic. This story holds up so well today, man. It aged perfectly. Dating is a nightmare in this society. And I'm so tired of the male versus female culture we got going on in this world. Failed marriages, divorce, cheating, rejection. I mean, how is it that human beings have overcome so much just to revert back to a truly shallow world where people are so willing to give up, superficial? I truly wish that someday men and women can come back together and it not being some rocket science exam just to find a partner that only lasts like 3 months. I mean, there's a clear problem in this world. But the only thing we can do is try to be a good person and do the right thing. If you want to help support my channel, please consider becoming a patron. I don't have that many patrons, but I really appreciate all my channel members and patrons. So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.